Nate, are you okay? You look sad.
Oh, hey, Mike. No, that's sad. I was just taking a break from my run. So road's out.
Yeah, road's out, but no worries. Grapple point.
Grapple point. Oh, just grapple. I'll grapple it.
Yeah, just grapple with a grappling hook.
Oh, yeah, I'll just grapple that fucker with my grappling hook.
Yeah, no worries. Just grapple that fucker.
I'll just grapple that fucker.
Yeah, good. All right. Well, Salada.
Oh, Salada.
Hello there, and welcome to episode 63 of the video game podcast, PlayStation Pals. I'm your host, Nick, and I'm joined by the Aerith to my Tifa, John. John, I think we can pat ourselves on the back because last week we called the rumored state of play perfectly.
Yeah, pat yourself a little harder than pat me. I wouldn't have even brought that as a topic had it not been for you. So
Okay.
I'll reach across this table and give you one, Nick. You nailed it.
Because, as we'll get into, it is, of course, one of the one things. Not less than 24 hours later from our releasing of episode 62, Sony announced the state of play, and feels good.
You guys should have been there. When this got announced, Nick, I could see that smirk. I could see he was. I fucking got it. I nailed it.
Yeah.
I'm so smart. I'm such a smart boy.
Yeah, and if you listen to us, we've been pretty good. We're pretty on top of the PlayStation stuff, especially, So this is nothing new to our normal listeners. But if you're just listening now, just to get our thoughts on the state of play, come back because like I said, we're very good. We're up on the happenings of PlayStation, especially, and
The
video
haps,
games.
as the cool kids say.
Is that what they say?
No, I have no
Okay.
idea. I have no idea. All I know is
You're the one with a child.
All I know,
so I'm going to defer to you.
If my 6.5-year-old is starting to bring home like what's cool, and I worry for our future. No, the only thing I know is that no cap means I'm not lying.
Okay,
that's the new cool term that I could give you. So,
all right. Well, let's get into it because I really want to get into that state of play. So this is how the show works. John and I both bring up to 3 things to talk about. It can be a video game we're playing. It can be a news item. It can be a conference, as we're going to have 2 of those to talk about. Or it can be an email to PlayStationPalsPod@gmail.com if you want to submit a question for us to answer. Or you can reach out to us on our Twitter account @PSPalsPod. Follow us there if you want to get updates on the show. And then finally, YouTube comments on our YouTube page @PlayStation Pals. Any of those things we feel like bringing it, we talk about it. And today we have 4 things for you. So, again, state of play. We talked about it last week. And of course, the next day, on the 12th, it was announced to be on the 13th. That's how quick the turnaround is on these things. Mm-hmm. So I'm really glad we touched on it because we wouldn't even be able to react. We wouldn't even been able to do predictions or anything like that. And sure enough, just as we mentioned on the show, this is a repeat of last year where a state of play and a Nintendo Direct went head to head with each other. So, and I got my dates wrong. It was 13th that it was announced. What was it?
Who cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
I'm getting the dates wrong because we record on a different day than we publish. Yeah. So, yeah, it was on the 12th that we released the episode. The 13th it was announced. The 14th the state of play occurred. So,
I hope this is a regularly occurring programming for Nintendo and Sony going every year. It could
every
be
September.
micro, mini E3. You get a little head-to-head battle. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know why they do this.
I think it's probably just an overarching business thing where it's like, hey, we're heading into this quarter. We got to get some announcements out for this. I think the third or fourth quarter.
But do you think the short turnaround is just to manage expectations? Like you can't even, like I said, you can't even react. It's not like you can, if they announced this 3 weeks ago, you can be like,
Yes.
the rumors of, is Grand Theft Auto 6 going to be there? Is Wolverine going to be there? They start bubbling up. It's like, no, this is here and it's out, and the internet discourse kind of just is talking about the thing, not what their expectations of the thing will be. So I wonder if that.
Yeah, you don't want to give gamers breathing room. You want to make sure that everybody can kind of you get your information out there and then you show them, because you give space in between, they're going to pontificate and and get their hype levels up, and it's just never good for anybody. And because these companies can even communicate as clearly as possible, like Sony did this time. They're like, we're gonna have third party and indie stuff, and then you go into the chats and it's just like, Bloodborne 2, oh, what's gonna be here? The next thing from Sucker Punch. It's like, no, guys, just listen, just read. These guys are trying to tell you what they're gonna show you, and just people sometimes don't care. So
Right.
yes, I think it's very calculated and a good call to just announce it, put it out, for sure.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned the messaging, because that was also a weird thing, because they mentioned that it's going to be focused on indie and third-party titles. That was the initial announcement. And then leading right up into within an hour of it, they said, State of Play returns today with upcoming releases and a new slice of Helldivers 2 gameplay. And it was like, what?
But that's second party. What are you talking about?
Yeah, exactly. And then when we'll get into the announcements, well, there was more than that. So it's kind of interesting. But what we're going to do here is we're going to cover each individual announcement for this, because I think there was a lot of good stuff in here, as we'll get into, and then we can give our overall review of it. So, John, I'll let you take the lead on the first game. Do you want to explain baby steps?
Oh, yeah, baby steps. Sure. So a game a couple years ago kind of took the internet by storm. It's called Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. And I think people would recognize this game if they've seen it, where you're kind of this dude in a little cauldron, I think, with a hammer, and you kind of use it in a swinging motion to propel yourself upwards. And it's meant to be one of those fucky physics games. Think of QWOP, I feel like was the first one of these, where part of the enjoyment, quote unquote, is the frustration, I think, that comes with just basic movement. So you start off as this guy. The trailer started off with him face down in the mud. He spits out the mud, and he starts walking, and you can tell immediately that that's what this game is, right? He's
the legs are moving very weirdly.
Yeah, independently, his body looks off balance. Obviously, that's what this game is. He's trying to climb this little small hill, slides down a couple different times. He sees a path over to the other side and gets up that way. But and then comes across a player, and there's a very silly interaction that you may or may not have heard at the start of this podcast.
Oh, you've heard it.
Between some people, and to really give you the sense of what this game is. But it's going to be one of those type of frustration-inducing games that you're either into or you're not. I worry that my son is going to want to play this.
I liked them leading with this because it was the right amount of silly. It was
kept expectations pretty in check.
It made me giggle. And I don't know. It's on my radar at the very least.
Well, it was interesting because I was like, "What is this?" Because it honestly looks gross. Like the graphics aren't good. But I think again intentionally so. So I'm like, is this a PS5 game? What are we starting with, guys? Like, if this is what you wanted to open the show with, it did get me a little nervous. But then once I saw, kind of the direction and vibe of the trailer, I definitely became more on board with it as well, and thought it was just okay, guys. Like, there's gonna be smaller games today, which may not be the case at the end of this conversation, but I did not hate baby steps. I don't know if I'll check it out. To me, it seems like a perfect extra game though. I don't know if I'd want to pay money for this.
And now her name's going to escape me. Who was the lady presenting during the whole thing?
I don't know. I'm sorry, miss.
Yeah, it's kind of a new face, and I don't know if she's been the voice that's been going over them, because the State of Plays have had kind of just like the Nintendo Directs have had a disembodied voice talking over them. But this one, they actually showed the lady, and she was kind of our little, narrator through this whole thing, kind of a presenter that would sneak in and kind of just say a few lines. And I thought that was a nice touch to have a human face in a State of Play.
I like
instead
that
of just trailer after trailer after trailer cut between weird images of PlayStation buttons and other stuff. But I don't know. We'll get her name and I'll have it in the notes.
I think it's Sean Benson.
Okay, that sounds right.
Yeah, global head of third-party portfolio.
Okay. Yep. So it did cut to her, and then we got a few announcements, and I don't think, John, stop me if you want to touch on these. We got Roblox is coming to PS4 on October 10th, and then we got Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord coming October 26th for VR.
Okay.
And then we got more Resident Evil 4 VR, another trailer for that, No date for that. It's just coming this winter as a free update, which is very nice. What did you think of that, Johnny?
That might be the game that gets me to buy a VR too. We'll see. I mean, I love 4, and just playing through that game again in VR seems like a lot of fun. There's a weird positive side of it, I think, knowing that it's a game I've already experienced, where I can go through, especially when something like as nerve-wracking as playing through an RE game. RE7 to this day is probably the scariest thing I've ever done in my life, would play that game on VR. So it's nice knowing that it's a game I'm familiar with. It looks clean. It looks crispy. It looks like it's doing a little bit of change-ups here and there to accommodate the VR. And yeah, I'm pumped for it. And I imagine, knowing Capcom, they'll probably just either a small upgrade fee for if you own the game, or it might even be free if you have it. I'm not sure. But yeah, it looks dope. Looks good.
Yeah, and again, we've seen it before, and I think everything in this is, I think they've said as much. We've seen before, so there's no surprise announcements here, but
that's okay.
Then we also got a DLC announcement for Resident Evil 4. The DLC is called Separate Ways. In fact, was featured in the PS2 version of RE4 when it released, 20 years ago. But costs $10. It's out immediately, September 21st. And it also is accompanied by a free update to the Mercenaries mode on the same day. Ada and Wesker will be coming to that. Any interest in playing that at all?
Not really. I didn't play it for the original version. She doesn't need any more hatred, but the voice actress for Ada was very uninspiring. Yeah. So to have her go through the whole game would probably get a little old towards the end of it. And I'm sure it's a short experience. Being $10, I would expect 3 hours. Maybe.
But don't you want to grapple that fucker?
grapple that fucker. I mean, that was for baby steps, right?
Yeah, but Ada also has a grappling hook.
Oh, no, I didn't notice that. Yeah, I mean, grappling hooks are always good, but no, I just don't really dig DLC, man. Like, it's a weird thing. So
I know.
No, I will probably not be checking that out.
Okay, all right. Yeah, me neither. No interest.
I have your copy.
Yeah, well, even if I wanted to, I don't feel the need to play that. So, and then we got another trailer for Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, still coming December 7th, 2023. Again, Avatar meets Far Cry, and it looks pretty good, actually.
I am confused by what my brain is wanting to do with this game. I don't like Ubisoft games that much. I dabble with them. I'll check them out. Far Cry's fun, but it's basic. But this game looks next-gen as shit graphically. I think Avatar is weirdly a pretty decent IP to integrate into a video game space. You have these creatures that are stronger, bigger, and faster than humans, so you can do some of that kind of stuff. Then, obviously, your character is this hybrid sort of thing where like you have some human ties, so like you're gonna be using guns, you're gonna be doing the Far Cry stuff, but showing off the different mounts that you can fly, ride.
Yeah,
world's beautiful.
It could be just
it could be a very I don't think it's definitely not going to compete on a Game of the Year territory. It's not going to blow us away narratively, I don't think, but just on a base like open world comfort food level, I think this could be a surprise hit for a lot of people.
Yeah, and again,
it'll be $25 2 months after it comes out, because that's what Ubisoft games do.
Yeah, and it has kind of all of December to itself, so it's if everyone's caught up with all of the games that have come out previously, they can play this. But
yeah, it went from a definite pass to I might check this out at a discount.
Yeah, I'm thinking our rule applies, right? If it gets an 80 and above, I think I might check it out too, sure. But maybe just not at release. And then next up, we got another trailer for Ghostrunner 2 coming October 26th, which is unfortunate between Spider-Man 2 and Alan Wake 2. But the good news is it got a demo. So we'll get into the demo later in the show. But if you haven't checked out Ghostrunner 1, which I believe has been free at some point, either an essential game or an extra.
Yeah. I think it was essential.
Yeah. But if you haven't checked it out, you can check out this demo. I will give my thoughts a little later. So.
And I've talked about the first game on the show too. If you like Hotline Miami. It's that same kind of thing. Nick will talk more.
Yeah,
I'll
or you like a melee build in Cyberpunk, this feels a lot like that too. So
Cool.
We'll get into that. And then next up, we got some new colors for the PS5 hardware, the controllers, and the faceplates of the console. They call it the Deep Earth Collection. You get a red, a silver, a blue option that looks slightly different than the ones we've gotten before. John is shaking his head.
It's so dumb.
I'm in agreement.
Who makes these decisions? Like, I'm not saying they look bad, but we have red. We have blue.
Right.
Like, give me orange.
Yeah.
Give me green. Give me neon yellow. I don't know.
Right.
Like, why can't we get a little more creative with this? I mean, I'm not asking the world. I'm not asking the ability to customize my faceplate entirely, but I don't know, man. Like, it just seemed weird. It's a weird call to me.
Right, or link it up to another
it's
game.
Yeah, you got like you got a surplus, a red 5 over there in the warehouse that you just got to burn through. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like we've only gotten 3 themed ones. We got the LeBron James, God of War, and the Spider-Man one, and then these normal colors. And yeah, I haven't been tempted to pull the trigger on any of them yet. So
I know, but if one of those was orange,
yeah, I
bet this would be a different conversation.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
money on the table, Sony.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah. So that's unfortunate. And then next up, we got a gameplay demo of Helldivers 2, which led to its release date, which is going to be February 8th of next year. Keep that month in mind as we continue to talk about the state of play. But John, what did you think? We got to see basically the typical demonstration of they tried to imitate how real people play and talk while playing the game.
Got your flank, dog.
Yeah.
No, I'm down.
So yeah, we had
Give me
four players try to take on a bile. I want to say bile gut or bile titan. I think it was bile titan.
Yeah.
Bile gut is a Horizon robot. So a bile titan, and we got to see a kind of different things as they tried to take it down, including different weapons, different types of characters, and then using your ship to call down a bombardment on the insects. What did you think of this, John?
I think it looks really high quality. I think it's going to be probably a sleeper hit next year that is going to iterate on what the game originally was and bring it to a third-person format, which is going to appeal to a lot wider group of people. I will say, like, I haven't lessened on the game since it, but I feel like the more I think about the gameplay that they showed us, it was an interesting choice, and I think I'm stealing some of my thoughts from Kyle Bossman. So if you're a fan of his, you might have heard these before. But it was interesting to watch that specific gameplay demo because it seems like it was a lot of like, okay, coordination, getting kind of annoyed by these small bugs while we try to fight the big bugs, and then at the end of it, you just drop a nuke on him anyway.
Right.
And I'm sure there's a lot more nuance to that. There's probably something in, like you don't get access to that big bomb until you get to a certain point or something. I'm confident in Arrowhead's ability, the developers of this game, to make it fun and stuff. But it was like, well, that does seem like kind of just like, why didn't you just drop the bomb in the beginning then?
Well, it did kind of explain the loop that, yeah, you're getting like money to upgrade your gear and you upgrade your ship too. Like they showed there was images of your ship getting like more robust. So I'm assuming you get, bigger artillery, bit more abilities, probably the ability to call down like mechs and stuff as you progress.
Yeah. I think if this game can do that type of stuff well, like because that's my limited amount of time playing the first one. I do remember, I think it was called like the Paradigm System. It was something like that where you get these abilities, but it's not as simple as just like holding L2 and picking one. You have to do like an intense button prompt, like up, down, left, right, triangle, X, square, circle, to call it down. And I think it's just meant to kind of, in this chaotic situation, make you be a little bit more on the ball. And if they can make those things as fun as like I get a fucking mech and mech gets called down, I'm in a mech suit now, or like, and just have a wide variety of that, I think it could be a ton of fun. And the systems.
That's a cool strategy. Sorry to interrupt you there,
good.
but I'm putting all the button prompts in, protect me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna call down whatever advantage we can have, and if everyone can just like form up and then like protect the guy doing it, that's a cool mechanic.
I think that's definitely the angle that they're really trying to go for, because one of the things I saw in the trailer, and I know we commented on it, and I can't recall seeing it in the past, was the ability for your partner to be next to you and load your rocket launcher faster, which I thought was a really cool. Like, if you're thinking about the systems and the gameplay dynamics on an intricate level like that, that spells a really good sign, I think, for the final product. Because they are thinking this game seems to be very deep. Just from the initial time we saw it, talking about the angle of the bullet hitting the enemy, and depending on if it's a shallow angle, it's probably going to deflect off of them. But if it's a direct hit, you're going to damage that thing. And it's like, okay, they're thinking about this pretty in depth, and that, is only going to reward the player. So I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, if they can make that support role fun, because it did look cool. The guy had a big ammo backpack, and he had a bunch of big rockets on the back, and he was taking them off his back and loading this guy who was, trained on the giant Bile Titan bug. If they can make those different support roles, they had one person that could release a little drone that would stand there and be kind of like a little mobile turret. So if they can make all those classes fun, and then, kind of gently massage people into working together that are not friends, that could be a really fun time. And like you said, I think it looks great. It looks fun. It looks hectic. And
I got a question for you. How much is this game gonna cost, Nick?
Oh, yeah.
How much is this game going to cost?
I keep looking. Yeah, pre-orders are live on the 22nd, but they have not publicly said, at least in my own research.
I haven't seen it either. And, I don't know. It strikes me as a $50 game for some weird reason, but I also think that they're putting enough into it to be $70. Like, I think people need to make sure that they understand that this is going to be a big product, not necessarily on the same level as the first one, because the first one, if I recall, was $30. So I'm just kind of curious to see what that will be.
I'd set your expectations that it's a $70.
I would too. I just, it's an interesting thing. And final thought on Helldivers is if this game does well, I would expect Sony to buy Arrowhead at some point next year, because this is a team that has the tried and true Sony purchase formula, which is work with them for a long period of time as a second party, and then once they prove themselves, you buy them. So, so we'll see.
Yeah, and again, it's, obviously Sony has a lot of live service offerings coming up, but this one seems to be the most solid, the most materialized. Like, it's about to come out. It's showing very well. That I think everyone's gotten behind it. I haven't heard any bad feedback. So, nope. It would make sense if this game is a runaway success that Sony invests in them, because they're doing good work there. So, all right, up next, they said only focus on third-party games, but here's Spider-Man 2. And what we got is Brian Intihar, the creative director of the game, kind of going over basically the systems of the game. And again, if you weren't sold before, how are you not sold now, as they kind of go into the suits, the seamless fast travel, how both characters exist in the world, and you a la Grand Theft Auto 5, just kind of you can fast travel to the other Peter, and then how missions will either involve both of them or one or the other, and just the seamless loading of the world has been kind of like the emphasis. Is like, holy cow. Yeah,
that was one of those, like, what did I just see moments when, like, you're looking at the map and map form, and then it zooms into the map, and the little buildings and stuff, turn into their actual selves. That was a cool moment.
Yeah, and that they showed that the map is doubling in size. They added 2 more boroughs, Queens and Brooklyn. So there's going to be a little bit more than just the big city that we've had to deal with in the previous game. But
I liked what they were doing. It seems like they took an emphasis to make you want to go into the map less, where a lot of the icons and things kind of just exist in the world a little bit more fleshed out, which I love, because it's fun to knock off, in the standard Ubisoft style, where you're just kind of going through and checking everything off. That's cool, and I don't mind doing it, but stumbling across something is always a better feeling.
Yeah, it definitely seems like there's a push for that natural, hey, I'm on my way to go do a mission that's on the map, but I'm keep getting distracted by all these things that are just naturally coming to me, and that's shown there. And then on top of just this gameplay overview, a bunch of previews went live as the press has seen it. There's multiple PlayStation blog articles.
Oh my God,
we're here. Spider-Man is,
and they love it. Yeah. Everybody, I would guarantee this is better than either the first 2 games. Like, I would just straight up say, like, you will not be let down.
Yeah. Again, our thoughts on the game are out there. It's, Insomniac just does not fail. So, and this looks to be the same. So again, another really nice showing of it.
Yeah, I just Googled Spider-Man 2, and the first article is Spider-Man 2 will include ray tracing no matter what your graphical setting is. And so it's just Insomniac does shit on a different level, man.
Yeah, this game's going to be huge. Will it be bigger than the first game?
Yes.
We'll see.
Yes.
How will it review? That's also a good question. I think it has a chance to be,
First one was
join
88, I think.
Join the 90 club if everything works out. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see this game at a 91 to 92 range if the power of the PS5 and the fast loading really are the big game changer. Even though the gameplay is probably around the same as what we expect. But
first one got an 88. I would say 92. Also, that would be my guess.
Yeah. So
seems to be the year of the 90s.
So again, we probably won't talk about this game again until it is out, and then we'll have our impressions. But October 20th will be here really quick. So
sweet.
All right, next we got a weird one. We got an expansion for Tales of Arise called Beyond the Dawn. It is coming November 9th.
Beyond the Dawn?
Beyond the Dawn.
The Dawn?
Dawn. Yeah, it's all about wieners.
Oh, nice.
But I have not played Tales of Arise, so I don't got much to say about this. But it is odd. I think the game is over 2 years old at this point.
It is over 2 years old, yeah.
And it's getting an expansion. But I mean, a lot of people love this game.
Another 88 on OpenCritic. I've wanted to get through this game for a long time. It's just unfortunately is low enough to get bumped by like Zelda and Elden Ring and Horizon. So it's just like, sorry, we'll get to you eventually.
Yeah, because it's a free PS5 upgrade, right? You have the PS4 version.
Yep.
So yeah, if you're interested in the game or this, again, as John mentioned,
go to your local used video game store. I guarantee you it's $10 or less.
Right. So that's cool. Next up, we got our returning friend, Foam Stars.
Oh, jeez.
It is getting an open beta. It is coming September 29th to October 1st on PlayStation 5. So if you want to finally play the game and check it out. So
I feel like we should play the game. I don't want to, but I feel like we should.
I just don't.
There's no way it sticks with either.
No, that's what I'm saying.
It would almost be a disservice to our listeners to be like, hey, here's my thoughts on Foam Stars. My thoughts are I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Even if it's great.
Multiverses all over again.
Yeah, so.
It's like, I don't know. Even in a world where I had fun with it, I just don't think I'd ever like stick with it. And the game's DOA. It's look at Crash Team Rumble. It's going to be in that kind of like vein. It'll come out and
it has to be really good to not be. I mean, there's people positive about it. It won a couple Game of the Shows for Summer Games Fest, but it's got to have lasting power, which will be tough.
Yeah. So that led us to the final thing, and okay.
Yeah, you
catch my breath here.
Watch out.
There are video game trailers, and then there are video game trailers. Like trailers that just elicit an emotional response that are just doing everything right. They're showing the game at its top tier. They're showing so much of the game, and that's what this trailer did. And then the game is Final Fantasy Rebirth. They did end on that, and we got a release date. It's coming February 29th next year, but this trailer, John, is one of my favorite video game trailers I've ever seen. I have probably watched this trailer at least 30 times.
What?
It's so good. Like, not only does it have, it has the great music, first off. Like, it's a remix of a Final Fantasy VII song. It's great. But then it goes to show more characters. You got Kate Sith and Vincent. It's confident enough to show the combat and this how characters fight together now. So you got a Barrett fighting with Yuffie. You got this funny scene where Aerith is feeding these little energy orbs to Kate Sith, and he burps them out in a giant beam. And then you have the summons. There's 2 summons shown. I forget what the first one is, but the second one's Odin. You got all the classic Final Fantasy bosses. You got all the classic Final Fantasy locations. You have them driving in a big red truck. You have him riding different colored chocobos. You have him
and flying.
And flying, yep. You have him riding a Segway at Costa del Sol, a classic location in the game. And there's just so much going on. You have Cloud and Sephiroth fighting together, and the bromance showing off. They kind of do a combo together that ends with I don't know, longing eyes of Sephiroth looking at Cloud. I don't know how else to put it.
Thirsty eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, you got weapons showing up. You got the golden saucer, this iconic video game location being shown off in this new engine and this new look, and it's awesome. And all the mini games are there. It's just this is a trailer that shows how confident they are in this product and how huge it is going to be. And one of the YouTube comments that I loved was like, Final Fantasy VII like could exist outside of Final Fantasy. Like it's that big, it's that important, it's got a fan base that it's almost could be, insert a different video game title, because it's just that game is perfect in so many ways, and it's so great that this remaster is being treated this way. Not only does it look incredible, but the new story beats that they're going to add, because Final Fantasy VII Remake kind of at the end of that game kind of said, from here on out, it can be whatever we want it to be. All the events of the previous game do not have to happen anymore. And you take all this in, you take the giant package, and I can't believe we're getting this. Like, it's like, if you would have told me when I played Final Fantasy VII back in 98 or 97 when it came out that I'd be playing this now, I wouldn't believe you. It's a great trailer. Sorry, John. What were your thoughts on the trailer?
No, you're good. I think it's important you get all of it out, because I don't have the nostalgia ties to it. It's like a lot of the trailer, I thought
that is a big part.
I thought it looked great, but I don't know locations. I don't know, famous moments from the game. So for me, it was, I think it just showed off more of what I loved about the first one, with it being brought to that next level that you would expect to see with a sequel. It definitely seems like, obviously, open world-esque. I think that was a lot of discussion again after the first one. Was like, well, what are they going to do with this? How are they going to treat that? And so to be able to get some of those answers was nice. The idea of flying a chocobo around, I didn't have that on my bingo card. But yeah, I think it looks great. I'm happy that the combat is being tweaked a little bit. While it wasn't that I disliked the combat in 7 Remake at all. In fact, I think it was great. It's just I preferred 16s, I would say, to it. So like, I hope maybe they kind of mix those together a little bit more. Because like towards the end of Remake, I remember it felt a little button mashy, where I was just like, I just don't stay knocked down, man. I don't know what's going on, but just don't stay knocked down, because there's 30,000 damage getting flown around all over the place. But yeah, probably as of now, the biggest release for next year that has a date. Right. I in fact guaranteed it is, because what else you got? Suicide Squad. Yeah, man, it's nice to start seeing next year getting fleshed out a little bit, to see what these big bangers are going to be, the big games to look forward to flesh that out. But it's got to be your most hyped game, right?
Yeah, it is with a release date. Especially after Spider-Man, like this is coming out, and I know we touched a little bit on it last week, that we kind of said is after Spider-Man 2, is Sony going to have some kind of drought of games? Nope. And then 2 days later be like, oh, at least we're good till February. Like to have a second party and a third party exclusive in February, and both of them looking incredible, is like, oh, like the pedals to the metal still. Like, you think, you're going to get through 2023 and be like, oh, all right. And all those games I got done. And it's like, nope. To have this game coming so soon is great, and good on Square Enix. Like, they're kind of having, not all their releases have been hits, but, they had Forspoken, they've had Octopath Traveler, now they have, and then Final Fantasy 16, and then now this game, like, and Final Fantasy 16 and Forspoken and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, those are big projects, and to have all those kind of hit within a year of each other is pretty incredible.
Yeah, they're kind of taking a page out of Capcom's book right now, where they're in this little bit of a renaissance, with some leadership, I think, over there really shepherding the team to where they need to be. Yoshi P, the director of Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 14, being a major part of that. So yeah, Square Enix is riding high.
Not according to their stock price.
Yeah, not according to their stock price, but I don't pretend to understand how the market works. I think it's all a big bunch of shenanigans, but what are you going to do?
Well, I never understand these companies' expectations. Like, Square Enix is famous for thinking Tomb Raider underperformed, and it sold like
Guardians and everything in the West.
Yeah.
But one thing to note about this too is if you are if you are a person that hasn't had the chance to play Remake yet, I believe if you pre-order this game, you get access to Remake.
Yeah.
So
you can get both of them.
Yeah, so you get both of them. So if this is something, if you've just been, for some reason, haven't gotten to it, now's the perfect time. And I think we're finally going to get, this is going to be the way that our Xbox friends finally get to play Remake. Because they have announced this is going to come to Xbox. So it's like a 6-month thing.
Okay, so okay. So I saw clickbaity articles, but I didn't look into it. They're saying that this game will finally come to Xbox.
So on IGN is saying Final Fantasy VII Rebirth exclusivity to PS5 for at least 3 months. So they haven't said where it's going to after that. If it's
See,
if
that's
it's,
what I'm talking about.
No, I know, but that's why I said it might be a way for them to, for the Xbox people to play it, hopefully, because they did say when Remake came out that it would be coming to Xbox, and it just never did. So, this is kind of another thing. Like, we're like, is it coming or is it not? But they have said that for at least 3 months. So it might just be PC. That might be the only other place it's going.
Yeah,
But
I would assume it's going to PC, especially with the Final Fantasy 16 announcement that it's going to PC. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I don't want to be an Xbox hater podcast, but I think Microsoft would have to shell out some money to get them to want to port it there. There's some kind of deal.
They have money.
So
yeah.
And I know like when they announced Final Fantasy 14 was coming to Xbox, they said that their relationship's going to be stronger. So who knows? But again, yeah, exclusivity for X amount of months. I won't buy it until I hear otherwise, because like you said, Final Fantasy VII Remake was supposed to come to Xbox, and as of now never has. So not to say it can never happen, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, here we are. So, but yeah, that kind of wrapped up the state of play. John, what did you think? What did you think? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a really, really good showing. Every single game that they showed off had a exceptionally strong showing. I think of Avatar. I think of Spider-Man. I think of Final Fantasy. It all showed games that were games I'm going to want to play and that, have a lot of value to them one way or another.
Yep.
It's a bummer to never see new announcements, but I think Sony is hopefully slowly shifting the expectations of what state of plays are, where when they first got announced a couple years ago, we just kind of had this inherent expectation to where every single time a company speaks to us, they tell us the big things. And it's taken a while to temper that, I think. But this is exactly what I would want from a state of play. It's just updates on the things I know. Maybe I would appreciate 1 or 2 announcements, but that's just a selfish thing. And then save the Game Awards, the Jeff Keighley opening night lives, those things for maybe showing off new products, or the elusive PlayStation showcase that happens every 1 month to 17 months. I don't know. You never know. But no, I think they did a very nice job, pretty much top to bottom.
Yeah. I think if you listen to our podcast when we talked about the PlayStation Showcase, this is the opposite of that. This is more expertly curated. The games all look better. We got release dates. We got extended gameplay demos. That's what you want from any kind of event. It doesn't just necessarily have to be a state of play. And I'm with you. New game announcements are always going to be the bread and butter. But we're in the thick of it right now. Games are coming. Let's highlight those games that are coming. And then, yeah, like you said, we'll flesh out 2024 when the Game Awards come. So,
well, because that's where we still are kind of at. I feel is like Sony has a lot to say, not just like 1 or 2 games to announce, but they have a lot to say, and it doesn't really make sense to just drip feed that out over state of play. So, will a Code Red, what's the DEF CON? Will the DEF CON come back for the end of the year with the PlayStation Showcase? I don't know. We'll see, but. They have to say what first party is doing at some point. Like,
right.
I don't know when.
Right.
Do they think that Rebirth bought them enough time? It probably did.
Yeah.
But so.
Yeah, I think the Game Awards, Sony has been there in the past, so you probably would expect if a game is going to release in the first 6 months of next year, that it should be there, if anywhere, and then maybe they'll do like Microsoft did this year with a January event. So
we still just have our poor PSVR 2 just limping along. Just what What's the plan for that thing?
What a joke. You know,
So-
we maybe have to talk about that.
Yeah, at some point
eventually.
it's getting.
Because the Resident Evil 4 is great and all, but it's not enough. And Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord, which looks fine, just still there's no first party support. So
No first party support and no Alex. I mean, those are the two things.
yeah. So all right, let's move over to the competing.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say
showcase.
competing. I think they operate on their own vertical, but that's
Well,
fine. We're talking about the
This is-
Nintendo Direct.
Yeah. Well, same day.
I know.
Very much as the old E3
The head-to-head
feel.
competition for
Yep.
the day.
Yeah.
Yep. So Nintendo Direct, we got their showcase first. So we're not going to go as in depth with this one as we did with the State of Play, being that this is primarily a PlayStation show, but we're a lover of all things video games. So just kind of wanted to go through some of these, but. Nick, do you want any initial thoughts that you want to get out of the way first, or you want me to just jump right into this?
Again, I don't own a Switch. I don't get my expectations up. It is probably what it. When Nintendo announces something, I'm not like, oh, there's going to be a Switch 2. Like I'm not reaching for the sky because this too was announced the day before. There's no time to think about it, and I think
You probably just want to see indie games that are going to eventually come to PlayStation.
yeah, exactly. I like to see games that are also going to come to PlayStation, which there were a few here, which is always nice. Like I do appreciate that Nintendo Directs do show off a lot of indie games, like a lot of indie games, including games. I really don't think they should show a lot of farm games. That seems to be the running joke
Love
that they
their
love.
farm games.
But this is kind of like, I am excited to whatever the Switch 2 is. I will always be curious as to what Nintendo's next hardware is. But I knew that it wasn't going to be here.
Right.
Unless it was going to be coming out before Black Friday. Like if it was coming out, in the next 2 months, sure. But
Yeah, no, I mean Nintendo always likes to launch their consoles with a really big game. So
Right.
and they don't have anything like that ready. And I think that was pretty obvious with this
Right.
with this Direct. My big takeaway that we got here, it was about 45 minutes long, was that this is the end of the Switch One's life. This was a Direct that was primarily focused on remakes, remasters, lots of Mario things, lots of little games that they can kind of just push out towards the end of the life cycle to keep people invested, at least until the Switch 2 comes out, which all likelihood points to next year. But just want to give a couple shout outs. Again, I'm not going to go through every game. There was 29 games shown, which kind of surprised me when I saw the list. But I want to give us a couple shout outs. Shout out first to Dave the Diver.
Yep.
This is a PC only game that I've had my eye on for a little bit. Very indie, very pixel based, but it's sitting at an 89 on OpenCritic, which always just at least points me to checking it out. But there is a demo out for Switch now, so if you have a Switch, go check it out. But basically, it's one of those games. I think of Moonlighter for some reason. That's like the one that I think of, where it's kind of works in two different phases. Where phase one, you're a diver, you go out into the ocean, you have a variety of weapons. You start with just like a harpoon gun, and eventually you work that up, and you basically get fish. You shoot fish, you collect them, you come across little things that are hidden in the world, you come across little treasure chests that unlock upgrades, money, things like that, and then you take all your fish that you've gotten, go to your boat, go to a sushi restaurant that just opened up right next to you, and you basically give them all your sushi. You have this very charismatic, he kind of looks like Blade. He's like a bald black man with glasses, and he's like super cool and awesome. And he, makes your sushi, and then you kind of act as a waiter for all the guests that come through. It turns into a little mini game where you're filling people's sake up, and like you pour it, and you got to stop it at a certain point, and then that how well you do that will depend on how well you get tipped. And so it turns into this mini game. So you can easily see the loops and ways that this game will get the hooks into you, but only $20, so I fully intend to play this when it comes out. I checked the demo out. It was great. It's definitely a game for me. Next, I want to shout out F-Zero 99. So while it's not a game for me, I do like that Nintendo does these kind of weird battle royale variations. They did Tetris 99, they did Mario 99, and now they're doing F-Zero 99. And while they're not for me, it's free to play. It's just meant to be pure fun, and I gotta applaud that. I think that's kind of a cool way to just keep kiddos, who maybe don't have the ability to buy games as much as we do, kind of entertained.
Sure.
And then lastly, just a shout out to Luigi's Mansion 2 HD: The Dark Moon. I never knew the Luigi's Mansion franchise until I played the third one, and it was pure charm. Like it really was kind of surprising in a lot of ways how dense they're able to pack those levels with this weird vacuum that can interact with a whole bunch of different things. And I just think it's a really solid, tight game that, if you're kind of in the October mood, maybe check it out. But just wanted to shout those 3 games out.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So the other games I have to rank, or we're gonna rank these, Nick.
Well, can I shout out some games here?
No.
What?
Yes, you can shout out some games. Go for it.
I don't know how you avoided this one, but you're not going to shout out Unicorn Overlord?
That's my next section.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so sure, go for it. Shout it out. Shout out, Nick.
So Unicorn Overlord is the next game from Vanillaware, who did 13 Sentinels Aegis Rim, which is coming to PlayStation Plus Extra. As you hear this, it'll be out for that. John and I both really like that game, platinumed it. Vanillaware is known for their really interesting art style. It's gorgeous. This looks to be a strategy game that they're doing next. It's coming out on March 8th of next year, so another 2024 game to look forward to. And I just suggest looking and watching the trailer. It's something different. It looks like you gather allies and kind of have like a turn-based battle mode. But it looks interesting.
Yeah.
It's on my radar.
It's like their attempt at like Advance Wars or Fire Emblem or something like that, maybe. That kind of style. So yeah, so that one definitely looks to be cool. I think that they need to fire whoever made the name, but that's just me. Unicorn Overlord. Nah. But Nick, for the next little section of the Nintendo Direct, to just round this off here, I selected 7 games from the list of 29, and
okay.
I don't have a clever title for this segment yet. Maybe you can help me get a title for it. But for right now, we're just gonna call it Rank 'em. We're just gonna rank these 7 games, and what I want to rank them based on is what we think their level of, let's just say, pop culture impact. Right? How big are these games going to be? Are these going to be little stinkers that just come out and nobody gives a shit, or is it actually going to maybe turn into something? Or just what does your gut tell you? Okay.
Okay.
So 7 games. First one. We got Princess Peach Showtime, right? They showed off that. That's Princess Peach's debut solo game, where it looks like they're taking every idea they've ever had with every other IP that they've had and putting it into one game. So we got Princess Peach Showtime. We got Detective Pikachu Returns. Okay. We got Super Mario RPG.
Okay, yeah.
We got Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Unicorn Overlord. Mario vs. Donkey Kong. And Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door remake. I know they're probably all blending into each other. This is everybody's list. Would you like to see the list? Would that make it easier? Which of those do you think is going to actually make waves?
I don't know, man.
So none of them.
No, I really don't think any of them are. Like, as far as like selling a lot of copies or anything like that.
Yeah.
I really don't like. I mean, anything with a Nintendo character on it's going to be big. So, but there's 4 games in there with a Nintendo character, and I don't know. I'm sorry.
So nothing. So they're all gonna suck.
No, and they're all going to be fine. I'm just not a big on the, like, you have 2 HD remasters in there. Detective Pikachu looks Princess Peach Showtime could be something different and fun, but as you said, it looks like a bunch of Mario Party games plucked into a single player game. How interesting will that be? 3 remakes. Super Mario RPG is also a remake. So you got 3 remakes in there: Super Mario RPG, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and Paper Mario. And I played Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door, and I could not remember anything about it. Yeah.
See, I've heard that game is like weirdly something special.
Definitely,
the best of all the turn-based Mario games.
Yeah, definitely. Like, obviously, we speak very highly of Sea of Stars. This game will also, will channel that too, but have Mario characters in it, and that series has always had good writing. But I don't know, man. Like I said, this is why I'm not a Nintendo guy, because you just show me these games.
And they all blend in.
Yeah, they all blend in. And I like Unicorn Overlord, but that will not move the meter at all.
No, I would say that weirdly that'll probably be last.
Right, because
that'll probably be the least.
Because everything else is, again, a Nintendo character, and Pikachu in Pokemon is big. So
sure. Well, do you have a clear number 1? Do you have any which of these games do you think is going to, out of like
probably. I mean, the most amount of attention will probably be the Princess Peach game.
Okay.
Like I think that'll get the most amount of attention.
Okay.
But,
So we're going Peach number 1. Okay, number 2. We got Super Mario RPG, Thousand Year Door remake, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Prince of Persia, Unicorn Overlord.
This is the worst segment you've ever come up with.
This is, Nick, why I told you, why don't we go over how you want to do this? And you go, whatever you want, bud.
I'm not like. I don't think like I said, I don't think any of those games are going to move the meter, which is why you said in the front of this that the Switch is on its like way out, is because that's why I think like this is not even anything to get excited for. Like Super Mario Wonder is the biggest one, and that's not here. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, you have a bunch of remakes and like some hidden gems. Like Prince of Persia could be good, but I don't know.
Right. Well, of course, none of us know.
But that's probably number 6 on here because it's the last. It's not a Mario title.
Really?
So I probably would front load the original titles. So Pikachu Returns, Princess Peach, and then all the remakes, and then the games that are not Nintendo.
You don't think Super Mario RPG is going to blow up at all? I kind of have a weird feeling that one might like you might get some people that are going to be like
I wanted to
introduced to it for a new generation.
I wanted to. That's a great game. Again, in the Sea of Stars, it takes a lot of inspiration from that game.
Yeah,
and it's got probably one of the best Nintendo soundtracks around.
That's why I kind of when I look at this list, I see the Mario RPG and Thousand Year Door have a chance to like kind of reinvigorate that style of Mario game, especially again with Sea of Stars being as popular as it is. Could open a door for that. I think Mario vs. Donkey Kong is going to come out like a fart in the wind. Nobody's going to give a crap. Prince of Persia, I think, could be something that's multi-platform, so that inherently is going to get a little bit more attention than anything else. But I think Detective
it's coming January too. Like there is something to say about when these games are releasing. Like some of these games are next year. Princess Peach is next year. Prince of Persia and Unicorn Overlord are all next year, and everything else is, I think, being hammered in this. Well, actually, I don't know. Does 1,000 Year Door was that this year?
I don't know.
I don't know.
All right.
I would probably say original titles up front. But yeah, Super Mario RPG being the biggest one of all those remakes, because that is the longest amount of time between a game and its remaster. And then after that, the normal Mario vs. Donkey Kong is probably like you said, the furthest one.
Mm-hmm.
So Super Mario RPG, 1,000 Year Door, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, and then the non-Nintendo IPs.
Poor Unicorn Overlord.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play with unicorns, man. Unicorns are for little princesses. It's just a bad word to throw into a title.
What if the unicorn is endowed with huge boobies, as Vanillaware likes to do with at least a character in all their games?
First, I hope there's not actual unicorns in the game. Like that's going to be my first thing.
There's a bunch of fantasy creatures in that trailer.
Yeah.
There's like humanoid animals, so I wouldn't be surprised, bud.
Yeah, I don't know. Just the idea of like, I'm just trying to think of a narrative with unicorns. We have to save the unicorns. They're so majestic and I mean even in the U of the logo has a unicorn on it. So you're probably right, but.
Well, a unicorn's like a mystical creature, like one of a kind usually. So maybe like that's just another term for your main character.
Right.
I don't know. But
all right. Well, that's all I got for the Nintendo Direct, Nick. So we can move on to topic 2,
okay,
which is a little more industry oriented. So probably the biggest news story of the past week in the video game industry has been this announcement that Unity is going to start a new fee process that has everybody up in arms, where basically they are going to, I'm just going to read from the article to kind of get a good base here. So starting on January 1st, 2024, Unity will charge a Unity runtime fee for any game that surpasses a revenue and lifetime install in the preceding 12 months. Normally, Unity personal usage is free, and subscribers for Unity Pro pay $3.99 per seat. But under the changes announced today, Unity Personal and Unity Pro users will pay fees if they hit $200,000 in revenue in a year and 200,000 lifetime installs. For anywhere from 1 to a million installs, those users will pay 20 cents per install. And this is a quote from Mark Witten, who is the Unity Create president. It's a price increase. It's a business model change. From our perspective, we're working on ensuring that there's an accurate exchange of value between Unity and its customers. But with that said, the price increase doesn't impact the significant majority of customers. So like I said, this has gotten the entire industry really up in a kerfluffle right now.
A lot of games you play are made in Unity.
A lot of games you play are in Unity. That's right. So I actually made a list of some big ones. So Cuphead, love Cuphead. Beat Saber, love Beat Saber. Subnautica, Pokemon Go, Hollow Knight, the Ori series, Fall Guys, Among Us, Genshin Impact, Death's Door, Hearthstone, Cult of the Lamb, and others. So not just small little cheap games, because the reason that Unity is so used is that it's typically free, right? It's a free program that gives you basic tools you need to get your shit done. But with this new change in terms and services, lots of indie developers specifically are not having it, to the point where we're starting to get lawsuits being threatened. We're getting people sending out open messages to one another saying, don't use Unity. Devolver Digital's out there saying, when you pitch us your games, please tell us what engine you're using, because I think they don't want to work with these guys. And my question to you, Nick, is how bad is this for Unity? How bad is the only way to win back favor to pull out entirely, or what do you think needs to happen?
I want to backtrack just a little bit to last year, and I know I'm not an iPhone user, but when you use apps, one of the reasons they're free, or Facebook or anything else, is that a lot of data is being tracked about you, and then you're getting targeted ads. And guess what? Unity is also doing the same thing. So if you created a mobile game, you can use Unity software to put ads in your game, and Unity, gets a huge cut of that. Well, last year, Apple introduced app tracking transparency, which let people on iPhones sign out of this, opt out of this. Mm-hmm. So Unity can't target specific ads to you, and can't get that delicious data that all these companies want. And do you know how much that cost Unity last year?
No.
$5 billion.
Oh my God.
Their stock went down 37% when this happened, and they couldn't figure out a workaround. So Unity is already in a bad spot. Yeah. And I'm sure that the part of this initiative was them trying to get more money on the back end, specifically like a game like, say, Among Us, right? A game that, they probably got Unity for free, and then all of a sudden the game blows up, and maybe they have to pay like a one-time fee. I think you have to pay, like, if you hit a certain like revenue, you have to pay like 14 grand or something like that to Unity. But a game like Among Us that has sold millions and millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of copies, like, eventually, Unity's not getting any of that money, and they want their cut. And so this was a move to do that. And like you said, the messaging is poor. The idea that this can be abused. Say, I don't like a game, I'll just uninstall it, reinstall, reinstall, dip into their funds. Or the big one, if I have a Game Pass game or a game that's on a free service, and all of a sudden people are just they don't even pay money to me to download it anymore. Right. But I have to pay Unity every time they do. And then the fact that Unity's like, I think their initial reaction was like, oh, we won't go to you for Game Pass. We'll go to Microsoft for that. And it's like, Yeah, you think Microsoft's going to pay that?
Right.
They'll either negotiate different deals with all these games so that they're paying for it, but Microsoft isn't going to come in and pay these install fees. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
They're already, as we've talked about in the show, they take it on the nose in Game Pass typically anyway. So they're pretty fucked. I don't know, like, existing games will probably, it's probably very hard to take, I don't know, the Cult of the Lamb and be like, oh, we're going to go put it on Unreal Engine.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think you can do it that
it's like, that sounds impossible to me. But I think, like, a lot of these tools, they do similar things, just like any programming language, right? Like if you learn C# and you go to Java, like there's knowledge that you're going to take that's going to apply. That it applies over both. That's just how these things work. And I think, a lot of developers will probably just move to other engines, probably Unreal. I'm sure Unreal's real happy, or Epic's really happy,
So happy
that this happened. And so other engines are probably all going to get a boost as people move any new projects to this. So
yeah, I mean, because one thing about this too is it's retroactive.
Right.
So like any game that's like, they retroactively went in and changed the terms and services, like, which is just unheard of for something like this. So, as I mentioned earlier, some developers have had less than kind words. I pulled 2 that I thought were pretty showed what this situation means to these people. So this is from Innersloth, who are the developers of Among Us. They say this would harm not only us, but fellow game studios of all budgets and sizes. If this goes through, we delay content and features our players actually want to port our games elsewhere, as others are also considering. But many developers won't have the time or means to do the same. And then Megacrit, who are the developers of Slay the Spire, probably had my favorite one. And they say, despite the immense amount of time and effort our team has already poured into development on our new title, we will be migrating to a new engine unless the changes are completely reverted and the terms of services protections are put in place. We have never made a public statement before. That is how badly you fucked up. So, it's something that we'll probably, stay tuned with. We'll probably get some developments and updates kind of in the future, but it's a really bad look, man. It's a really bad, maybe necessary for Unity, but I don't think they really read the room right. Like you said, Nick, I think it was a bad rollout. I mean, yesterday they did send an update at 7 p.m. saying, we have heard you. We apologize for the confusion and angst the runtime fee policy we announced on Tuesday caused. We are listening, talking to our team members, community, customers, and partners, and we'll be making changes to the policy. We will share an update in a couple of days. Thank you for your honest and critical feedback. So, they're obviously aware. How could you not be? But yeah, it's just one of those. It seems like a slimy corporate move that just is there to line the pockets. But like you said, they're in trouble. So like it might be a move needed to fight for survival. It's just not ever going to go over well. I don't know how you make something like this go over well. But, I think it could just be also a symptom of the industry right now. We see economics changing on a day-to-day basis. We see these different revenue streams and ways to do it coming in and out of focus, not really knowing what the impact is going to be long term. And I don't know if this is a canary in the coal mine, if this is just a one-off or what it is, but it's something to at least be focused on, because Unity isn't a small player. Unity is one of the big boys, and if they are sniffing trouble, like what are the other companies feeling right now? Is that going to reach a breaking point that could force either that this is stuff that has to happen, it gets forced back onto us as the consumer somehow, or who knows? But, Are you
worried about Silksong?
I think Silksong's probably God, it doesn't matter how far along it is though, because like it's just about the fees. No, I don't know. I feel like Hollow Knight's probably like big enough that they can go, okay, we can probably absorb this in some way. I don't really quite know.
They're probably too far along anyway. The really, like, that game's been in development for quite a while that I can't see them like switching engines or anything.
No.
And Unity's probably gonna, like I said, they're gonna walk back everything.
I think it's more like the games like, I was thinking like a guy on our team really likes Pillars of Eternity, right? And that's made in Unity. And the second one is scheduled for like open beta next year with like full release the year after. That's a game that I would be like, ooh, what do you do? Like you're 75% to 90% of the way through, and like now it's mission critical time to figure out how everything works, and you're like, well, what do we fucking do? Because that is a free to play game. That's a game that, I don't know. I don't know the economics of it all, but it just seems
you'd adjust your revenue stream, right? Either more DLC, more things behind a paywall in a free to play game like that. Like that's you either or you charge more up front. I don't know.
So,
but we'll see what they say, and we can bring it back up when they.
Do you think the only way out to earn public favor is just to be like, we psych, We were just kidding. Because even then, it's like, well, we don't trust you anymore. Or is it
Right.
just, it's just fucking burn?
Right. I don't know. Like, again, I'm not a developer. I don't know how
Because like, it doesn't
critical
really
the
matter
tools
what we
are.
think. It matters what the developers think for
Right.
them.
Right.
So I think they got some splaining to do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, well, we can keep an eye on this and then bring it back up. Because, yeah, as you mentioned, a lot of our favorite games are in Unity. So this is going to have an effect on us at some point. All right. So moving on to the last thing is that Ghostrunner 2 demo. Again, that is out now. Ghostrunner 2 is coming October 26th, coming from one more level. John thought very highly of Ghostrunner, and he suggested to me you check it out because you're just a cyberpunk ninja.
Didn't.
What's that?
And you didn't until now.
Yeah. So I went and I did check out the demo. And so what Ghostrunner 2 is a first-person ninja game. You have a samurai sword, you have shurikens, you could have wall running, you have platforming, and then you have some unique abilities, including being able to hold time for as much as your meter will hold for, and you can get out of the way. So if you're jumping at an enemy and he shoots a bullet at you, you can freeze time, move to the side, and then get in close for the kill. And you have a bunch of different enemy types, and everything's one hit kill. So if you get shot once, if you're not looking behind you and a guy comes and hits you, you're dead instantly. And the game is kind of a trial and error mode where you kind of keep going into an encounter and being like, oh, I fucked up. Try it again. And it's very satisfying. The game feels really good. I got to play around with the sensitivity because when a guy got up really close to me, I was just looking all over the place like, because it was too sensitive.
Yeah.
But
It's a quick game.
But one of the neat things it does is it's like instant load time. So anytime you die, boom, you're right back into the game. And I'm assuming that's like Ghostrunner 1.
Yeah, well, with the first one, they actually had a PS5 update for it, so it probably that's probably one of the main reasons. They're like, we need to reduce the amount of time between deaths.
Yeah. So in this is instant. Like it's like you die, you're right back into it, and I think that's the only way you make the difficult mechanics work.
Yeah, it's a Super Meat Boy thing.
Because you can go into a room with like 10 guys, and that last motherfucker will get you, and you're like, fuck. But the game loads so fast, you're like, all right, let's just do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then this game does have a few encounters like that, a few platforming, a little rail grinding, a little grabbing bars to jump and all that stuff. And you have a grapple. You grapple that fucker and you move around the map. But new to this game, which I confirmed with John, is the motorcycle. And so they have extended motorcycle sections. You're kind of chasing a guy down in this demo, and you're driving this super fast motorcycle over jumps. You're, just like Batman Arkham Knight, you're able to drive the motorcycle up walls to avoid things. You can take secret shortcuts that take you through vents, and then you're avoiding fans. It's all very fast and frenetic. And again, if you make a mistake, it's like, boom, right back to the latest checkpoint. The checkpoints are very forgiving. It's not like you have to do the entire run in one shot, but yeah, it's very enjoyable that I instantly just downloaded the first game. I haven't checked out that yet. I'm busy with other games, but I definitely put it on my list as something to check out. And yeah, when it comes out, it's only going to be a $40 game, so it's good. Everything looks good. It's very pretty, very very noir, very cyberpunky, and fully voiced. There's dialogue throughout while you're playing between you and multiple characters. I have no idea what's going on, obviously.
It's not a game you play for story.
But I still appreciated it. Yeah, I enjoyed my time with it, and I definitely suggest John, who did enjoy the first game, to check it out as well.
Yeah, I have it downloaded as well. I haven't jumped into it yet, but yeah, it's Neon White had a baby with Hotline Miami, and it's one of those. For me, it was a game where it's like, I don't really know what to play, but I wanted to play something fast, and I would just jump in, do a level or two, and call it good. It's a hard game to play for long periods of time because it is so fast. But, short experience. The first one was 7 hours. I haven't never beaten it. It's been one that I've kind of always think of going back to every once in a while when I have a week or two and in John time. And Yeah, glad you like it, man. I knew you would at least dig the vibe and
Right,
like the cyberpunkness of it all. So
Yeah. It's again, if you were a melee build in Cyberpunk and use a sword, this is that game. Just with the one hit kills.
yeah, you really it does a good job of making you feel like a badass. Quite honestly, like it's just zipping, zapping, freezing time, cutting heads off. It's visceral. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah. You face other guys kind of like you. They're like ninjas, and if you perfectly time the block button, you instant kill them, and it has some cool close-up animations
So where you like
for
stab
that.
the katana through their head.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, there's different variations of that. So that it's very fun, and again, it's out. The demo's out, so I really just suggest you check it out. So
When's the do we know the release date on that one?
October 26th.
Nice.
Like I said, it's unfortunately between Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2. So I'm sorry, Ghostrunner. I wish listed it, but I don't know when I'll get to you. After I play the first game, I might come back and check out the second game. So
Very cool.
yeah. All right. Well, that was 4 things. We did it. Again, it took us a long time to talk about 4 things, but when you got 2 conferences, that's what happens.
Yeah.
So
State of Plays will do that.
So, okay, John, what teases do you got? When are you getting through Sea of Stars, man?
I'm trying, Nick. I'm trying. My clock in game says 17 hours, I think.
Okay.
So getting there. I love it. Still love it.
I'd say you're halfway then.
Yeah, I mean, and I recently got myself gifted a very nice exercise bike. So I'm wondering, like, I've tried the watch a movie while biking. I don't know if I could do a turn-based game while biking. Maybe. I don't know.
If it wasn't for how important the active blocking and timing was for all the abilities, like how important to you, I don't think you could do it. If it was just a turn-based game where you just, commanded guys and they did what you had to, and there's not that active part of it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Give it a shot. See how you do.
Yeah. Yeah. So, no, I mean, I'm still playing that. My son is addicted to Neon White right now. So I'm helping him out with that.
Just like his dad.
He really does. I should probably start being a better influence on him because he does whatever I do. But no, man, I hopefully will just continue with that and hope to get some interesting news topics and things to pull at for next week.
Yeah. All right. I will be bringing next week Cyberpunk 2.0 as it is officially coming out before the release of Phantom Liberty on September 21st. So I will be jumping into that, respecing my character, which I'll be forced to do, and then seeing how the game plays.
Thing that you can like go online and log in.
Oh yeah, yeah. They have a web-based character spec builder, perk builder online that you can check out. But no, I'll just wait till the full release, and then I'll just wander the game and see what's changed. See if I can check out some things. So and then prepare for the imminent release of Phantom Liberty. So that'll be great. And then as far as Baldur's Gate 3, I did beat Act 2. I am in Act 3. I'm actually in Baldur's Gate. And boy, do I have so many thoughts about this game. I was almost going to bring it this week, but I knew that the state of play was going to take as much time as it did. So stay tuned for that. Again, one of the top reviewed games of the year. And I'm getting toward the end. And yeah, I have so much to say about it. So it is a very interesting game for console players. I
want you to give me a yes or no answer. Does this make you want to go back and play Divinity at all?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, because I think one of the nicest things about this is the cutscenes that you have voiced characters and they animate and they talk to you, and I know that is not in the older games. So. Yep. No, I am gonna see this through, and hopefully I can get it done before Phantom Liberty. So
yeah, you're a beast. You're a beast, Nick.
Yeah, I'm trying. Well, when you put the game on easy, it's not taking me as long as the people saying over 100 hours. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Okay.
All right, John. What song are we leaving them on?
All right. Well, in kind of a theme with Ghostrunner, a game that, like I said, had a baby with it. From Hotline Miami, we got Hydrogen from Moon coming in, which Hotline Miami is like really one of the very first big indie games out there, so this was an important part of that. Everybody remembers the music from those games, and
it's very good.
You know, I think you'll have a hard time not bopping your head to it when you listen to it.
Yeah, I've never played Hotline Miami, but I have listened to the entire soundtrack, and so that's how I discovered Moon. So enjoy the song, and then we will be back next week with Up to 6 Things. Bye, guys.
See ya.